Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 150 based on novel. So let's start. Damn, this kid is too arrogant. You actually let us go together. The dead camel is bigger than a horse, and this guy is not afraid that it can't eat so many of us. Hundreds of senior brothers and sisters faced Xiao Yang's contemptuous tone, and there was no lack of anger, but when they saw Xiao Yang, the movements and tone of his hands were hesitant. I have to say that the people who can be here today are all extremely proud people. It is enough to prove that they have obtained powerful fighting skills from the 4th floor of the Fighting Skills Pavilion. Although not everyone has obtained the Holy Rank fighting skills, but the fighting skills of the Immortal rank are equally powerful, and now Xiao Yang is contemptuous by himself, and everyone is immediately unhappy. If you don't agree, let's go together. I'll fight until you serve. Xiao Yang's expression didn't change, and he slowly smiled at everyone. There is a lot of confidence in his voice. Damn. Let's go together. It was unbearable. Hundreds of disciples heard Xiao Yang's provocation, and they immediately attacked Xiao Yang without hesitation. This kid is too arrogant, I must teach him a lesson. This sentence only echoed in the minds of many brothers and sisters. In a short time, hundreds of disciples surrounded Xiao Yang and prepared to attack. Do you need help? Seeing this, Mu Yingying immediately knew that Xiao Yang was trying to build prestige for them, and immediately used the power of flame to communicate with Xiao Yang. No, I can still deal with it. Faced with Mu Yingying's question, Xiao Yang refused. Although the hundreds of disciples in front of them are powerful, most of them are only in the early and middle stages of the 6-star Do Emperor. As for the late 6-star Do Emperor, there are very few. As long as the few powerful disciples in the hall did not attack, Xiao Yang had enough confidence to defeat the other brothers and sisters. Is this Xiao Yang too arrogant? I'll go up and have a look. Seeing this, Wang Chen immediately said to Xiao Yang, who was exuding a contemptuous smile. For some reason, Wang Chen was very unhappy with Xiao Yang's smile. This contemptuous smile was clearly a slap in the face. Don't go. Just when Wang Chen was about to act, Zhu Yuan directly pulled him, and a voice directly stopped him. What's going on? Wang Chen heard the words, and immediately felt some vigilance in Zhu Yuan's eyes, and immediately asked. Wang Chen knew that his two senior brothers were extremely proud. They had always been arrogant. This Xiao Yang is really not simple. Zhu Yuan said indifferently. There is no doubt that just relying on one face-to-face, Zhu Yuan felt the looming huge strength of Xiao Yang. Such strength is undoubtedly much stronger than when he entered the Doji Pavilion before. Up until this point, Zhu Yuan seemed to have some beliefs that Xiao Yang had mastered the treasures of the Palace of Humanity. The treasure in the 3 halls of heaven, earth, and human. If it is about power, it is the most tyrannical among the halls of people. Even Zhu Yuan, who is as powerful as the 7-star Do Emperor, has no certainty to defeat Xiao Yang. How do you say this? Ling Xian seemed to be also interested in Xiao Yang, and immediately said slightly. Regardless of whether Xiao Yang has succeeded in cultivating the treasures of the Hall of People, this guy's soul power alone is probably better than some of the elders in our Funxiang Pavilion. There was a hint of Zhu Yuan's voice. Dignified, obviously facing Xiao Yang, even if he was as powerful as the 7-star Do Emperor, he felt a hint of danger. No way. Wang Chen said in disbelief when he heard that. Some of the elders in the sect are also specialized pharmacists. Their arrogant personalities have also created their strong alchemy skills. However, these pharmacists seem to have the level of soul power. As for pharmacists and other ranks, is also hovering between the 1st and 2nd rank of the Emperor. If I expected it well, Xiao Yang's strength should still be the 6-star Do Emperor consummation, but his soul power has reached an unprecedented Emperor level. Qinshin on the side opened his mouth slightly. Obviously Xiao Yang was not hiding himself at all. The power of the soul has also been discovered by many people with extraordinary eyesight. Emperor realm level? What a joke. This is comparable to the soul power of a 2nd-grade Emperor alchemist. Even if Xiao Yang cultivates soul power in the womb of his mother, I don't believe it. Xingyu denied directly. The senior brothers in the Earth Hall here are all people with unique eyesight, so they naturally know some basic classifications of soul power. Soul power, Emperor Realm Ordinary Grade, Emperor Realm Earth Grade, and then the Emperor Realm Earth Grade Small Perfection. This Xiao Yang was only in his early 30s, how could he possess the soul power comparable to that of a 2nd-rank Imperial alchemist? This was enough to surprise everyone. After all, soul power is invisible, which is more difficult than the cultivation of vindictiveness. Nothing is impossible. It's just that you can't do it, it's not necessarily that others can't. Qin Xin heard the words, shook her head undeniably and said something to Xingyu. Damn, if this kid is really like this, it would be too terrifying. Xingyu was so sneered by Qin Xin, and immediately knew the seriousness of the matter, and immediately opened his mouth. Haha, I'm looking forward to it. After Zhu Yuan finished speaking, he looked directly at Xiao Yang who was beside him. Although the strength of these hundreds of disciples was not strong, such a huge lineup could not be easily resolved. This kid, his soul power has actually reached the level of an emperor. Xiong Yuan immediately regained his composure, looking at Xiao Yang, who was calm and composed. For some reason, this Xiao Yang actually made him feel a little bit more chilled. This kid, it's intentional. Mu Shuzi was not too surprised, just opened his mouth slightly. In that case, let's fight. My human palace has been silent for thousands of years, and I hope that it will become prosperous from your current session. After Mu Shuzi finished speaking, there was a flash of relief in his eyes, because he had been waiting for this day for too long. The disciple took orders. Xiao Yang seemed to have sensed what Mu Shuzi meant, and immediately smiled at him slowly, and then looked calmly at the hundreds of brothers and sisters surrounding him. Hehe, I'm sorry, today, I still have to make you suffer a lot. For nothing else, just recreate the world for the treasure of our human palace, Xiao Yang said impassively. After speaking, the ancient ruler of the eternal fire suddenly lit up behind him, and a dazzling and ancient power slowly spread. This is. Following Xiao Yang's announcement, the surrounding disciples suddenly became commotion, and they all knew that this fluctuation was the smell of holy fighting skills. The treasure of the Hall of People. Is the world finally going to reappear? Zhu Yuan also stared at Xiao Yang. At this time, on the ancient ruler of the strange fire in Xiao Yang's palm, a dazzling and ancient power slowly radiated, as if destroying everything. Terrorist power, let's go together, don't give him a chance to fight back. Many of the disciples were not vegetarians, they immediately knew the seriousness of the matter, and they didn't care to sit still. Powerful attack methods emerged one after another, and they all attacked Xiao Yang. In the face of so many terrifying attacks, Xiao Yang was not afraid, and even his dark pupils exuded a strong fighting intent. Move the ruler, break it for me. The next moment, a dazzling huge shadow suddenly appeared in Xiao Yang's palm. Following the appearance of this shadow, many disciples only felt their minds faint, the sky and the earth darkened, and an irresistible force rushed towards them. Come! Boom boom boom! The huge ruler shadow appeared in the sky, and suddenly a sense of powerlessness came from the minds of many disciples. The next moment, Xiao Yang directly controlled the huge shadow of the moving sky ruler, destroying all the terrorist attacks that were condensed by hundreds of disciples. Not good. Go back. At this moment, hundreds of disciples realized that what Xiao Yang said was true. Just when the huge shadow of moving the sky was about to attack them, they realized that this Xiao Yang, can't be bothered. If an attack of this level falls on them, let alone hundreds, I am afraid that thousands of disciples will not be able to resist. Come back. Xiao Yang said softly, and then the huge shadow of the moving ruler instantly turned into a stream of light, and then flickered into Xiao Yang's ancient ruler of strange fire. Afterwards, Xiao Yang took back all the offensive and returned to calm, and the ancient ruler behind Xiao Yang also became mysterious. Everything was calm again, and suddenly, there was silence here, and they didn't know what just happened. Good boy, it really smells like moving a ruler. After a few breaths, the disciples of the Hall of Humanity near and far all cheered. Because of the treasures of their human palace, there are actually people who have successfully cultivated. This Xiao Yang completely broke the bad news that no one had successfully cultivated since the establishment of their human temple. This is a great honor for them. Hehe, I never imagined that I would see Tiantian ruler regain its radiance in my lifetime. Seeing this, Mu Shuzi immediately burst into tears. At least Xiao Yang did not disappoint them. Senior brothers, I admit it. At first, Xiao Yang just wanted to promote the prestige of their Hall of Humanity. Now that the goal has been achieved, it is natural to be polite. After all, they are all from the same sect. Haha, I didn't expect junior brother Xiao Yang to succeed in his cultivation and become the treasure of the Palace of Humanity. Congratulations to junior brother Xiao Yang. Some of the hundreds of disciples present said slowly. They all knew that Xiao Yang's achievements in the future would probably be limitless, so they immediately became polite. After all, strength is always the most respectable thing. Okay, since the matter is over, let's go back separately. In a few months, a certain ruin will be opened, and that will be the last stepping stone for you to participate in the sect competition. Mu Shuzi said quite happily. Hehe, thank you, Deputy Hall Master Mu Shuzi. Seeing this, the disciples immediately had the momentum to disperse. After all, this Xiao Yang, they couldn't afford to offend him at this time. He, Mu Shuzi's Deputy Hall Master, wait. Just when Mu Shuzi smiled and opened his eyes, a serious voice slowly broke the peace. Seeing this, Xiao Yang also raised his head slightly. What is this guy trying to do? But the next moment, Xiao Yang had the answer in his heart. Zhu Yuan, what else do you have to do? Seeing this, Mu Shuzi frowned immediately. If someone else said it at this time, with his short guarding character, he would inevitably have to teach him a lesson, but this Zhu Yuan was different. This Zhu Yuan is currently the strongest among the disciples of the Earth Palace. Although the strength of the elder brother of the Earth Hall is stronger than him, but the elder brother is not in the sect when he is out, so he is the strongest among the disciples of the Earth Temple. And recently, Zhu Yuan's strength has logically broken through the 7-star Do Emperor, which is quite different from the previous half-step 7-star Do Emperor. Deputy Hall Master Mu Shuzi, don't be nervous, I don't have anything important. It's just that I have recently learned the treasure of our Earth Palace. It is rumored that the Palace of Humanity is the treasure of the 3 halls of heaven, earth, and people. The People's Palace ranks first. I just want to confirm this statement. Zhu Yuan took a step forward. He opened his mouth slightly. Zhu Yuan, don't mess around. Your 7-star Do Emperor has successfully dealt with our human palace 6-star Do Emperor. Wouldn't it be shameful to say it out? Mu Shuzi was immediately angry. When Zhu Yuan said this, he would bully the small if he didn't make it clear. Deputy Hall Master Mu Shuzi, Zhu Yuan. The main nonsense, this kind of thing will naturally be true in the future. Now you are saying this, no doubt. Seeing this, Xiong Yuan immediately scolded secretly. He knows Mu Shuzi's character too well, although this guy is kind, but beneath that kindness, there is a frenzy hidden. Someone dared to provoke the prestige of the treasure of their human palace here. Zhu Yuan made it clear that he was looking for trouble. Deputy Hall Master, let me try it. Seeing that Mu Shuzi was even more angry, Xiao Yang immediately held him with a hand, and then spoke slowly. No, you haven't grown up yet. As the Deputy Hall Master of the human palace, I have the responsibility to stop some unnecessary troubles for you. Otherwise, if this matter is known by our Hall Master, it will be necessary to scold me. Mu Shuzi snorted immediately. Vice Palace Master, don't worry. The mere 7-star Do Di, Xiao Yang, haven't paid attention to it yet. Furthermore, since you want to prove that the treasures of the 3 halls of heaven, earth and people are stronger and weaker, then I also want to prove that the strongest person in the human hall and the strongest person in the earth hall are stronger or weaker. Xiao Yang's voice like thunder, it suddenly exploded in this space. What? Is this Xiao Yang an idiot? Zhu Yuan is the strongest in the Hall of Earth today, and his strength has reached the level of a 7-star Do Emperor. Although Xiao Yang has mastered the treasure of the Hall of People, his strength is too weak, and I'm afraid he will suffer. You can't say it like that. Didn't you see the gorgeous flame on Xiao Yang's body, that flame? But Zhu Yuan at the level of 7-star Do Di is slightly afraid. I see, this is a fire good show. The disciples around them kept saying. Second senior brother, what are you doing? Don't you want to go up now to cause trouble? Seeing this, Ling Xian spoke with a slight dissatisfaction, and then looked like she wanted to go up and hold Zhu Yuan. Forget it. Second senior brother has his own plans. Trust him, he is absolutely reckless. Zhong Wuming said to Ling Xian. Zhong Wuming is very clear about the second senior brother Zhu Yuan, to have such a tyrannical strength and the name of the second senior brother of the Earth Hall, relying on it's not luck, he must have his reasons for doing so. Hopefully, but it seems that the 7-star Do Emperor is dealing with Xiao Yang, who is a complete 6-star Do Emperor. Ling Xian was still a little worried. He naturally knew the strength of the second senior brother Zhu Yuan, and now Xiao Yang has successfully cultivated in the Hall of People. Treasure, Xiao Yang's status is also rising, and I am afraid that he will be the target of training. If something happens to Xiao Yang in Zhu Yuan's hands, I am afraid. Xiao Yang actually wants to challenge Zhu Yuan of the 7-star Do Di? Mu Feng was surprised when he heard this. We believe him. Mu Yingying and Xiao Yi on the side did not show any hesitation, and kept their most anticipated eyes on Xiao Yang. Both of them knew that Xiao Yang's strength was terrifying. Haha, it was actually mentioned by someone. Then I will do as you wish. Earth Palace Zhu Yuan versus Human Palace Xiao Yang, I implore the 2 deputy palace masters to witness. After Zhu Yuan finished speaking, he suddenly smiled, and a monstrous fighting spirit emerged. Since the two of you have decided, then we won't say more. Remember, until the point is reached, if the power of your shot is too great, the two of us will immediately shoot. Mu Shuzi naturally knew what Xiao Yang was thinking at this time. What, so the exit? However, Mu Shuzi still has some fear in his heart. After all, the two people in front of him, whether it is strength or talent, are both talented people for Funxiang Pavilion, and it is not good for anyone to be injured. Zhu Yuan, don't do anything hard, otherwise. Xiong Yuan heard the words, and hurriedly used his soul power to send voice transmission to Zhu Yuan. This Xiao Yang has just successfully cultivated the treasure of their human palace. If there is any mistake at this time, I am afraid that Mu Shuzi can directly turn their palace into chaos. Don't worry, although Zhu Yuan Qixing Do Emperor is powerful, I believe in Xiao Yang. After all, he killed the twin ghost emperors, broke the Tongtianhe record, and now breaks the history of our human hall, so I believe in him. Mu Shuzi naturally noticed Xiong Yuan's little thing, and immediately snorted coldly, his voice full of expectations for Xiao Yang. Xiong Yuan coughed awkwardly when he heard the words, but Xiong Yuanye was quite touched by what Mu Shuzi said. One of these things can be a coincidence. If all of them are added together, then it's not as simple as a coincidence. Even at this time, Xiong Yuan is looking forward to the outcome of this battle. Retreat. The next moment, before everyone could react, Xiong Yuan and Mu Shuzi suddenly emerged with the dazzling energy of life, and immediately imprisoned a space that was 100 feet in size in front of the imprisoned space of this generation is the place where Xiao Yang and Zhu Yuan fought. After all, the energy ripples produced by the 6-star Do Emperor and the 7-star Do Emperor are not comparable to ordinary Do Emperor powerhouses. Have you been waiting for this day for a long time? Zhu Yuan slowly left the crowd, and then walked towards the sky shrouded in energy, not forgetting to talk to Xiao Yang on the way. Aren't you? Xiao Yang calmly said to Zhu Yuan. However, I have to say that this Zhu Yuan can sit on the position of the second senior brother of the Earth Hall because of his pride. After all, Xiao Yang's soul power just told himself that this guy is definitely not simple, and he is definitely a dangerous person, because even if he was far away, Xiao Yang could smell an extremely dangerous aura from his body. After passing the 6-star Do Emperor life calamity, the energy of life will appear in the body, and after breaking through the 7-star Do Emperor, the energy of life in the body will be given attributes. My attribute is the same as my previous Do Qi attribute, which is fire. But I'm a little surprised why there is no vitality in your body. Zhu Yuan stared at Xiao Yang in surprise. Haha, it's just life force. If you don't like it, it doesn't condense. On the contrary, I still prefer fighting spirit. As for Zhu Yuan's question, Xiao Yang naturally went over to him. Since that's the case, let's fight. I also really want to try your human palace's powerful fighting skills. It's just on the surface. Zhu Yuan said in a calm voice, but the fiery fighting intent beneath his voice could not be concealed. Use all your strength. Facing Zhu Yuan's opening, Xiao Yang also said slowly. Haha, if you do your best, wait until you are qualified. Zhu Yuan said undeniably. It is undeniable that Xiao Yang's strength is tyrannical. He not only possesses a huge soul power, but also possesses such wonders as holy flames. In addition, he has just learned the hidden fighting skills of the human temple. Xiao also put a lot of pressure on Zhu Yuan. However, Zhu Yuan has some confidence in him. If Xiao Yang is not as powerful as he imagined, then there is no need to use his full strength. Everywhere, I hope you will have the strength to say these words in a while. Xiao Yang snorted coldly. Start. The next moment, Zhu Yuan didn't talk nonsense with Xiao Yang, he directly lifted off, and said a word immediately. Immortal body. Emperor Yang. At the beginning of the battle, Xiao Yang called out his two major means of self-defense. With the appearance of the golden immortal body and the splendid Emperor Yang, the space enveloped by the dazzling power of Mu Shuzi and Mu Shuzi suddenly disappeared. Exudes a very hot feeling. The body of a fighting emperor. And this strange flame, you have a lot of secrets in your body. Facing Xiao Yang's second major means, Zhu Yuan did not stop it, but let him use it. The first level of the 7th level of breaking the sky ruler. Xiao Yang naturally didn't have time to talk nonsense with Zhu Yuan, so he took the initiative to attack directly with a quick attitude. Hehe, a good attack, but it's of no use to me. The dazzling flaming giant ruler just came to Zhu Yuan's side, and was immediately bounced off by Zhu Yuan with one hand, as if it was easy. The powerhouses in the early stage of the 7-star Do Di are really powerful, but my attack is not to hurt you. Xiao Yang said slowly in his heart, and then he did not care about Zhu Yuan, and condensed the 7th level on his own. The second and third feet of the sky-breaking ruler attacked Zhu Yuan. Although these attacks were also easily resolved by Zhu Yuan, the flames were not so easy to dissipate, and they slowly clinged to this space, like a bomb that exploded at any time. My good fellow, I really underestimate you. After a while, Zhu Yuan also noticed something was wrong with Xiao Yang, and immediately drank it coldly, and then without hesitation, the dazzling fire attribute energy all over his body started to run, constantly facing Xiao Yang. Attack away. Faced with such a powerful attack from Zhu Yuan, Xiao Yang immediately felt a little tired, but fortunately, having an immortal body relieved a lot of burdens for Xiao Yang, and Xiao Yang was not so uncomfortable. I just want to prove the fighting skills of your human temple. Let's do it. One move is enough, otherwise you won't be able to consume me if you go on like this. Zhu Yuan also knew Xiao Yang's thoughts, and immediately said. However, although Zhu Yuan's guess was correct, Xiao Yang didn't use the same method as him. The purpose of the seven-layered sky-shattering ruler he just used was to make this space aura of flame and prepare for the next battle. I don't know if the sky-moving ruler's phantom is correct. Moving the sky ruler is just an application and borrowing of power, and it can be any power. I don't know how strong the heaven-shifting ruler can be with my holy flame power. Now this space has been rendered with the breath of flames, and it also meets the conditions for casting the holy flame-shifting sky ruler. Zhu Yuan, since you are so urgent, then I will use you to try this great gift I have carefully prepared for you. Xiao Yang quickly said a few words in his heart, and then the power of holy flame suddenly emerged. At the same time, the temperature in this space has risen sharply, and even the flames scattered all over the place just because of the seventh layer of breaking the sky are alive. His grandmas. Can you not be so shameless? Have Shenyang been used? Xiong Yuan outside the space couldn't help but swear. If Xiao Yang even used the power of Shenyang, I'm afraid Zhu Yuan's chances of winning are extremely slim. After all, Shenyang is not just talking. It's so scary. Hehe, I'm a little bit looking forward to what kind of tricks the kid can come up with. Mu Shuzi smiled slowly, and then stared at the two of them. The other Ling Xian, Qin Xin, Mu Yingying and some of the disciples were also staring at the space. Xiao Yang, who was covered with the power of the khaki holy flame, and Zhu Yuan, who was covered with the power of red life. Zhu Yuan, take me a blow. Move the sky ruler. In the space, Xiao held the huge ancient ruler of different fires. At this time, on the ancient ruler of different fires, a force of holy flames, after Xiao Yang's special control, suddenly evolved into a holy battle. The technique of moving the sky ruler, and its power, is even more terrifying than the phantom in the space of the sky-moving ruler scroll before. After all, Xiao Yang at this time was using the power of holy flame, and it was naturally more terrifying than ordinary fighting chi or vitality. Is this the moving ruler? It's such a weird fluctuation. Just this fluctuation is enough to reach the name of the holy order. Brother Zhu Yuan, how do you take it now? This heaven-shifting ruler is very famous. When some disciples saw Xiao Yang's terrifying attack, they immediately opened their mouths slightly, and they were worried about Zhu Yuan in their voices. At this time, the two fighting in the small space can be said without hesitation. It can be regarded as the peak duel between the youngest generation in the human hall and the earth hall. So at this moment, many disciples hope that their place the temple can win. Can senior brother Zhu Yuan take such a powerful attack? Ling Xian immediately said hesitantly. As the daughter of the hall master of the Earth Palace, she is naturally aware of the power of this heaven-moving ruler. Don't underestimate your second senior brother. He was able to step into the 7-star Do Di with the perseverance you can imagine. Zhong Wumeng seemed to know Zhu Yuan quite well, so he spoke immediately. Although I don't want Xiao Yang to fail, I still hope that senior brother Zhu Yuan will win. Ling Xianbei nibbled her lips and opened her mouth slightly. Look, the show has just begun. After Xingyu finished speaking, everyone's eyes returned to the small space. What a terrifying attack! It is worthy of being the treasure of the Temple of Man. But don't underestimate the treasures of our palace and palace. Reckless waste hands. Zhu Yuan's voice was slow at first, but at the end of his words, he shouted loudly. As Zhu Yuan shouted, a trace of desolate power gradually appeared in this small space. This kind of desolation invades people's hearts and is extremely sad, as if the slightest contamination will instantly turn into nothingness. The next moment, Zhu Yuan's palm suddenly burst into a strange bronze color, and the power on his palm was enough to destroy everything. The power of the wild. But this thing is not very useful to me. Seeing this, Xiao Yang said abruptly. After all, Xiao Yang's holy flame, the earth attribute in the fire heart Tianyang, has the power of wild desolation, so Zhu Yuan's attack seems to be powerful, but in fact it does not cause much damage to Xiao Yang. The heavenly temple's burning heaven Ju, the earthly temple's savage hand, and the human temple's heaven-shifting ruler, these three great skills have their own merits. The heavenly temple's fighting skills are not supported by the power of holy flame, but it is the weakest among the three temples. While Xiao Yang accepted the ring, the voice of the Golden Dragon King slowly looked at Xiao Yang outside the ring. During these times, the Golden Dragon King retreated, Xiao Yang also grew a lot, and now he is also a strong man, the Golden Dragon King said with a smile. It seems that after rescuing Yang Kai, it's time to teach him the supreme training method of our dragon clan, and I have to do my own thing. Fen Ju has cultivated to the end. If there is no such way of refining the body of our dragon family, it is not enough to break through. After the Golden Dragon King's voice finished speaking, it disappeared and calmed down. Now, let's see if it's your human temple's fighting skills or our earth temple's fighting skills. Reckless hand. Break it for me. Zhu Yuan shouted loudly, and then his bronzed palm suddenly pushed hard against the void in front of him. It's good to come. Move the ruler. Xiao Yang also shouted. Xiao Yang just condensed the moving ruler, but in order to prove which of the two fighting skills is stronger or weaker, he has not started it for a long time. Now that Zhu Yuan's attack is brewing, the two are not hesitating, and the terrifying attack is displayed in an instant. Boom boom boom. The attacks from the two gushed out from the sky, and the small space suddenly became restless, as if it would collapse at any time. Xiong Yuan, take action. At the next moment, Mu Shuzi broke through and sensed the smell of earth-yellow flames, and immediately confronted Xiong Yuan without hesitation. Together. Hearing this, Xiong Yuan nodded immediately. He also knew that Xiao Yang and Zhu Yuan's strengths were not trivial, and there were so many people gathered here at this time. If their attacks were leaked, the consequences would be unimaginable. Xiong Yuan and Mu Shuzi directly flew into the air, and then the dazzling 8-star Do Emperor around them showed their complete strength. The next moment, the dazzling vitality of the two suddenly poured into the small space. At this moment, the small space slowly stabilized. And as the small space stabilized, the attack of Xiao Yang and Zhu Yuan also came to an end. Who won? As the small space stabilized, all the disciples immediately narrowed their eyes, staring at the small space. Boom boom boom. The small space slowly spread out, revealing the figures of Xiao Yang and Zhu Yuan. You are very strong. Xiao Yang said to Zhu Yuan with a calm expression. Zhu Yuan was unmoved at all, and also replied, one move is missing, you won this competition. What? How can it be? Xiao Yang actually defeated the second senior brother Earth Hall with the strength of the 6-star Do Di? Second senior brother is a genuine 7-star Do Emperor. As soon as Zhu Yuan's voice fell, all the disciples immediately questioned him. It's just a fluke. Facing Zhu Yuan's admission of defeat, Xiao Yang also spoke slightly. If you lose, you lose. Where do you get so many excuses? You won. From now on, you will be the first person in the burning incense pavilion. Zhu Yuan's voice just disappeared, but Xiao Yang seemed to disappear from the corner of Zhu Yuan's mouth. I felt a relieved smile. What is this guy doing? Xiao Yang shook his head and said, obviously not knowing what Zhu Yuan was thinking. However, Xiao Yang knew very well about the battle just now. If he hadn't possessed the power of holy flame and isolated most of the reckless hands, he would have caused serious and irreversible damage to himself, and even if he possessed holy flame, Xiao Yang would have suffered severe damage. It was also found that this guy named Zhu Yuan was far from being comparable to him in terms of strength and understanding of fighting skills. Although he had just defeated him by chance at the last moment, Xiao Yang knew that if it was a real life and death do, I am afraid that my odds of winning against him are less than 40%. This is the strength and temperament of the second senior brother Earth Hall. Hihi, it's fine. Since this is the case, then I announce that Xiao Yang is the number one among the disciples of the Funxiang Pavilion who miss you. Seeing this, Mu Shuzi breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately said while taking advantage of the heat. Hey, Zhu Yuan, do you still want to do that dangerous thing? Mu Shuzi wasn't happy on Xiong Yuan's cheek, because he vaguely knew what Zhu Yuan was doing today. It was probably just for one thing. Since the matter is over, let's all go back individually. In a few months, news of the ruins will come out. After Mu Shuzi finished speaking, the hundreds of disciples slowly dispersed, leaving only Xiao Yang and a few people. Hehe, you kid, you keep bringing me some surprises. As many disciples dispersed, Mu Shuzi came to Xiao Yang's side, and slowly touched Xiao Yang's shoulder with a fist. This fist looks fierce, but it is actually an encouragement to Xiao Yang. This kid really loves to create miracles. This is also thanks to the Deputy Hall Master. Xiao Yang smiled and said to Mu Shuzi, obviously wanting to give the credit to Mu Shuzi. Hihi, come on, your kid is very clever. Seeing this, Mu Shuzi laughed immediately. He would not be fooled. Although receiving this credit can bring him a lot of benefits, Mu Shuzi is not such a person. Okay, then rest and wait for the ruins to open. Calculate the time, it should still be a few months. In a few months, it's enough for you to think about it. But in the past few months, don't run around for me, you kid, you won't cause me trouble again. Mu Shuzi analyzed Xiao Yang. Disciple obeys. Xiao Yang agreed and then returned to Mu Yingying's side. Big brother, are you alright? Xiao Yi asked when Xiao Yang came back. Because when Xiao Yang and Zhu Yuan played against each other just now, Xiao Yi noticed that the flame in Xiao Yang's body seemed to be unusual, and she immediately cared. Fine. It's your kid, I haven't seen you for a few days, and your strength actually shows a faint sign of breaking through. Xiao Yang felt the power of the flames that kept rising in Xiao Yi's body and smiled. That kind of sign is clearly the feeling of breaking through. Breaking through should be a bit difficult, so I can only pin my hopes on the ruins this time. I'll come to you at night to talk about it in detail. Xiao Yi said beside Xiao Yang's ears. Obviously, although the people here are almost scattered, Qin Xin Ling Xian and the core disciples of the Earth Palace have not left yet. Facing Xiao Yi's seriousness, Xiao Yang naturally knew that there must be something to hide, and immediately agreed softly. Xiao Yang, congratulations. Ling Shenbei bit her lip and walked slowly towards Xiao Yang. Also, congratulations on your successful cultivation of the treasure of your palace. Facing Ling Xuan's inquiries, Xiao Yang responded indifferently. I left beforehand, and I will come back to play with you when I have time in the future. But the next moment, the little witch returned to her usual liveliness and walked away, obviously wanting to inform the palace master of the good news. Seeing this, the core disciples in the other halls also left one after another. At this time, only Qin Xin was left. I didn't expect you to hide so deeply, and you actually possess the soul power of the Emperor realm. No wonder you dared to agree to my request before. Qin Xin smiled. That's natural. If you don't have any ability, it's really hard to win this job. Xiao Yang was not surprised at all because Qin Xin saw through his own details. After all, Xiao Yang deliberately released his soul power to let everyone know. Yes, in order to shock other people. I have everything you need ready, and it will arrive in a few days. At that time, things between us should also be able to start, and try to get it right before the ruins open. Qin Xin said slightly. No problem, when your stuff arrives, you can come to Wuzhuju to find me at any time. I will always be in Wuzhuju since the opening of the ruins. Xiao Yang said. It's better to let you rest for a few days. Qin Xin smiled and left slightly, because she knew that although she was impatient, letting Xiao Yang come to refine it at this time would undoubtedly have a low success rate. What's the secret between you and her? Qin Xin just left when Mu Yingying frowned and asked. It's nothing, it's just refining medicinal pills. Xiao Yang saw Mu Yingying suddenly asking, and immediately did not hide it. Oh, in that case, let's go back first. The influence of Xiao Yang this time will probably spread in the Funxiang Pavilion for several days, so you should go out of the simple residence in the past few months. Mu Feng suddenly smiled maliciously. Damn, it's so troublesome. Xiao Yang came back to his senses, slightly surprised, obviously quite big. Xiao Yang naturally underestimated the power caused by this person's treasured fighting skills. Let's go, we should go too. This news will be known to the entire Funxiang Pavilion in a short time, and it is estimated that it will be a prosperous world by then. Mu Shuzi directly hid the shaman on the 4th floor of the Duji Pavilion, and then turned to Xiong Yuan. Open your mouth. This time in your human palace, it seems that there is an extraordinary disciple. Xiong Yuan stared at Xiao Yang and the direction where they disappeared for a long time. Hey, your Earth Palace and Heavenly Palace have been prestige for so many years, and the feng shui has taken turns. Now it's time to come to our human palace. Mu Shuzi laughed, and then walked away without waiting for Xiong Yuan. The place, astonishingly, was heading towards the place where Zhu Jin lived. Yo, who made our Miss Tiandian angry? Let me guess, didn't you enter the Doji Pavilion? How is the situation? A rather funny laughter sounded slowly. Teacher, you're making fun of me again. Qin Xin was sitting on a path in the woods, and when she heard this voice, she didn't have to think about it. It was her own master, such as the deputy head of the hall today, Qing Lao. The treasure of the Temple of Heaven, I have indeed successfully cultivated, but this thing is not suitable for me. I always feel that this fighting technique is specially designed for the holy flame, Qin Shin said helplessly. A sentence. Hihi, naturally I can't blame you for this. After all, this burning heaven dew must be used mainly from the power of holy flame, but the creator should have ignored the rarity of holy flame. There are only 36 holy flames in the entire Great Thousand World. It's even more difficult to find one, let alone cultivating. The old man shook his head. Teacher. Xiao Yang, he succeeded. Qin Shin hesitated for a while, but decided to tell her master. This guy. I originally thought that this guy's talent was good enough, but I didn't expect it to be a miscalculation in the end. The boy who can decipher the secrets in the treasure fighting skill scroll of the Hall of People, I am afraid that this guy has only a lot more secrets than you. The old man was surprised, and then said solemnly. Most of them are the deputy hall masters of the 3 halls of heaven, earth and people. They all know that the fighting skills in that hall are tyrannical, simple or difficult, but there is no doubt that the treasure of the hall in this hall will be the most difficult, but at the same time the power is also the most powerful. So discouraged? It's not like you. Seemingly aware of a hint of hesitation in the girl's beautiful eyes, the old man said. Teacher, do you think Xiao Yang is too good, or it's me? Qin Shin suddenly said sadly. Shin believe in yourself in everything, everyone has their own experience. Just be yourself. Qing Laro saw that his precious apprentice was like this, and immediately ordered Qin Shin. I see, thank you master. After a long time, Qin Shin's cheeks suddenly showed a smile that belonged to her, and then she raised a confident smile and smiled at Qing Lao. This video will end here.